Let's do it. Mr. Bartholomew. We meet again, huh? We meet again, little bro. Ranking every single Nintendo controller. Oh boy. I've used my fair share of Nintendo controllers, so I'm curious to see where he puts everything. I'm expecting the GameCube to be like top 3 because the GameCube controller is actually really cool.
It's been several years since I ranked the Nintendo controllers, and thought it'd be fun to update this video since a ton of new ones have come out. This list is based on how useful the controller is today, as well as how nice it feels to use. So with that, let's get her ranked.
Let's get it ranked, brother.
47, Wii Speak. I still remember
Wii
watching
Speak?
E3 in 2008 when this was revealed.
Gamers, am I a fraud? I've never heard of the Wii Speak in my life. It was made for city folk. Oh, Animal Crossing? No wonder.
And I thought it was such a great idea at the time. Today, this really doesn't serve much of a purpose at all, as it was only compatible with a very small amount of games. There was also a Wii Speak channel, but you had to have the Wii download ticket to even use the app. This channel was basically just VC on Discord, but you could also use your Mii's and the lips would move when you talked.
You know what makes me sad, gamers? You know what makes me really sad about this? You could tell this is modern Bandy. Because listen to it again, gamers.
This channel was basically just VC on Discord.
You just know if this video was made 10 years ago, you'd say it's just like VC on Skype. We had to change the language just to appeal to you Zoomers. Why do we let Discord be the big one, chat? Let's go back to Skype.
Most of the games and this channel are completely unusable today, so that on its own makes this the worst Nintendo controller, considering it's essentially a deadweight. 46, NJS 3D1.
What is... Okay, that's crazy. I found a tier list that has some of the controllers, so I guess I can kind of play along. I want to put the Wii Speak in because I've not used it, so I want to put it in Is that alright with you, chat?
Yep, we've got a flight stick that was technically licensed by Nintendo and was meant to be used for PCs back in the 90s. It's actually got a good amount of buttons. Of course, the joystick itself has a wide range of movement and feels pretty similar to...
So this one on AVGN? If this was on AVGN, I feel like I'd remember it, you know? It looks cool. This is one I'd love to use, but... God damn, this looks sick. Yeah, it's actually kind of sick, doesn't it? Am I the only one that thinks this looks kind of sick?
It's also got this little control stick, a few buttons on the front, one on the back, and 4 turbo buttons down here with an analog slider. There's also a switch on the back that allows you to emulate different styles of flight sticks. What I find to be the most mystical thing about this controller is the logo on the front. It's clearly the Nintendo 64 logo, but it doesn't have 64 in the title. It just says Nintendo, which is super weird. There's theories that the developers of this controller, Laurel, got the rights to make a controller for the N64 that never came to fruition, so they instead released this joystick for PC. The biggest issue with this controller is that it's extremely hard to actually use, because it connects with a game port. USB ports were not standardized at the time that this was released, so to use this, you'd have to own a computer from 30 years ago, or get an adapter for it to work at all on a modern PC. 45.
I don't know. I kind of want to use one now, I'll be real with you. I don't see on this list, so I guess I'm not ranking it. I actually kind of want to try one, I'll be real with you now. You just convinced me, Bandy. Flight stick.
Nintendo Switch 2 camera.
Okay, but is it... Okay, we're really stretching the definition of controller here, Bandy. This is a controller?
Normally, I wouldn't include a camera as a controller, but Nintendo is treating this like a Kinect in Super Mario Party Jamboree, so I'd say that's close enough.
Okay, stretching the definition, but okay. All right, you know what, Bandy? I'll let my Twitter mutual Nathaniel Bandy get away with this, all right?
And you can also be an emoji VTuber and switch to Welcome Tour.
Guys, when I get back on Monday stream, gamers, Monday stream, I'm gonna start doing this.
As a controller, it's pretty useless and barely works, but as a camera, it's kind of interesting. The resolution is 1080p and has a wide lens. While I understand that having a lower resolution is probably to save on cost, it's admittedly amusing considering it's paired with a console where one of the big advertised features is playing games in 4K. The wide lens is a really nice touch too. If you're using game chat or playing some other game with the camera, it easily captures everything.
Yeah, it is, I will say it is shockingly good. I don't know if it's like the camera or the software on the Switch 2. It is actually like really good at that, shockingly good.
Only works for 64DD games. The main ones it could be used with were the Mario Artist games, but also SimCity 2.
I was about to say, did they make Mario Paint again? But they did? Oh.
It looks and runs like a classic mouse from the 90s, with a trackball included.
Oh, with the oh man. Oh, so good. How mice work now is just like objectively better. It's just a charm, guys. Sometimes I would just like, when I was just bored waiting for something a page to load, I'd just lift up my mouse and just start poking at the board. just to do something in the meantime.
In fact, there's even a Nintendo 64 keyboard that was also released in Japan.
Shit, real?
Which I guess could technically be counted as a controller too, but it sells for almost $3,000
Oh, good
online.
heavens.
I bought 50.
I was about to say you bought one, right? Okay, that's just a really convincing shop job. Nice one, Bandy. He's hitting the... I don't think he's hitting the when the fajitas come out sizzling. He's definitely hitting like when the tortillas come out grilling, you know what I mean? Or something like that, you know? He's definitely hitting one of those kinds of poses. I like it.
50. But the actual mouse doesn't really have much use nowadays. I also like that the N64 logo is front and center on the mouse. It's got that weird 90s tackiness that I adore. 43. N64 microphones.
What the fuck else did the N64 have, bro? I thought this console was supposed to suck. Why does this shit have everything? And yet my Game Boy Advance had nothing?
I like that you can physically hold it. It's more modern nowadays to have microphones hiding inside your technology, but I like holding this dinky little thing. The only issue is that it doesn't do as good of a job recording your voice, and it's only compatible with 2 games, Hey You Pikachu and Densha de Go 64.
Oh yeah, Hey You Pikachu, I forgot about that.
Which is Japanese only. I don't think I need to say much more about Hey You Pikachu. It's well known as one of the worst Pokemon games because Pikachu can barely understand what you're saying to him. The game did come with a foam topper and holder, but I don't have those, and I don't think it would fix the mic at all. I'm kind of surprised more Nintendo games didn't use the mic. I have to imagine a lot of R&D went into this.
Can I go and what's this one?
GameCube microphone. Oh,
Another microphone? Okay. The first time I saw this was on the Retro Sofa video.
this looks a little bit more like a real mic. Besides being thicker, it's also got a button that you'll push down when speaking into a game. And believe it or not, this mic actually works.
It has push to talk? You had push to talk?
Used it several times with Mario Party 6 and 7 mini-games, and it does the job wonderfully. However, its biggest flaw is that almost no software supports it. There's only 6 games. Did you know that you can use it with Chibi Robo? If you call out his name, Chibi will turn around and look at you. And yelling at Chibi startles him and he'll fall to the ground. Because him, I guess, right?
That's kind of funny.
It was also compatible with Karaoke Revolution Party, which I can't say I'm surprised about. This is another neat Nintendo controller that wasn't utilized to its full potential.
What could you use it for, though, really? That's what I'm thinking. Can I put this in room again?
NES Power Pad, the precursor to the DDR pad. The NES Power Pad works with a total of 11 games on the NES. Most people have likely played this with World Class Track Meet, as half of the titles were only released in Japan. This is a fairly decent pad for what it's worth. It's still responsive.
This is one that I wish I would have loved to have had one of these as a kid. This would have got so much play if I had one of these as a kid, man. I don't know. In fact, I wish I had one so I wasn't dog shit at DDR. Because like Dance Dance Revolution is one of those games I see at the arcade, and I wish I could play it, but I just suck at it. If I had one of these as a kid, I'd have a DDR Pro, you know?
Responsive and technically works. But since we're playing NES games, it's not going to feel extra immersive. I can kinda get playing Kinect Sports or even Wii Sport since the character models look a bit more realistic and it's easier to get sucked into those worlds with controllers that require you to physically move your body, but this is just a bunch of pixels. It doesn't really add to the experience.
I'll put this in D, okay? That's what I'll do. I think the worst bit about the Super Scope, I saw this one in the AVG, I think AVGN talked about this one. The worst about the Super Scope is, I don't know why the button's at the top, right? Like naturally with anything, you're holding this launcher quite high up. And it's like at the top, I want it to be like down here, you know what I mean? It just kind of sucks that the button was at the top. I'm like, who designed it like that?
Remember when video game companies used to release toy guns? I legitimately cannot imagine that happening in today's world. With that said, it's also one of the worst controllers due to how few games are compatible, and it can only be used with CRTs. To play it, you need this sensor to go on top of your TV, and that's able to sense which direction the Super Scope is pointing in.
Like, what? It's this bulky-ass launcher. They have to put on your shoulder. It's so dumb.
The only buttons are on the top and front handle, which makes it feel more like a proper rocket launcher. And don't forget about those 6 AA batteries that are required to power the Super Scope. Why not 10 or 12? Nintendo should have said f it and made us use as many batteries as possible. As for the games themselves, the only ones I've tried are Super Scope 6 and Yoshi's Safari. There are a small handful of Super Scope games, but these 2 titles are the most prominent for the accessory. And honestly, it's pretty fun to use. While it takes a bit of practice to get used to the aiming, it actually works pretty decently. Now, I don't see myself popping in Yoshi's Safari every day, but I can at least say I had a good time using it.
I don't know, man. It just looks way too... I like the Zapper. The Zapper's just way better. I'm putting this in D as well. Am I really going to the club and saying, yo, let's whip out the Super Scope, you know? Zapper though, I'll whip that out any day. You know what I mean? Zap, zap, zap. Duck hunt. You know, I play around a duck hunt. I ain't playing around a Super Scope 6. You know what I mean? Yeah, keep it in Smash.
39, NES Zapper.
Oh, speak of the devil.
The Super Scope could easily be swapped around. It's by far
Really?
the
I think
most
this one's way
iconic-
better. In all fairness, I'm kind of nostalgic for this one.
Like with the Super Scope, barely any games were compatible
Bandy,
with the Zapper. We're all aware of Duck Hunt, but there was also Hogan's Alley, Wild Gunman, and a few others. The way it works is completely different to the Super Scope, however. It uses infrared technology and is able to sense light on the screen. That's why you can cheat with
Nah, you know, my mutual Twitter mutual Nathaniel Bandy would never, okay?
the Zapper by getting close to the screen, or pointing it directly at a light bulb. In a way, that might make this controller worse than the Super Scope just because it's so much easier to exploit, but I could see myself using this one a little bit more.
Dude, this one, yeah, that just feels a lot more usable. Yeah, I don't know what it is. I feel like you could give someone to this in the modern day and just have a bit of fun with it. I'd go as far as to say this one's like a C at least.
SNES Mouse. We finally got into a weird controller that's actually supported by a good amount of games. 80 in total, in fact.
80?
The SNES Mouse is pretty much your typical 90s mouse, but it looks a little different.
Hope Nintendo finds ways to make these gun accessories again. They feel fun and silly. I think, unfortunately, in the modern day, with the climate the way it is, I don't think it would work. I don't think it would. I don't think people would appreciate the novelty and the fun nature in which it was intended to be, if that makes sense. But if you're asking me, yeah, I'd love that sort of thing. Like, more physical, fun accessories to go with games is just great. In fact, that's what I loved about Ring Fit Adventure. Do I need this giant-ass ring to play the game? Not really. But, like, just pick it up and just, like, running around with it? I don't know, man. Maybe I'm just a simple man. Maybe I'm just a really, really simple man, you know? But, like, shit like that it gets me going, man. All that shit. That's why I love arcades. Like, people think, like, the arcade would be dead because it's like, you gotta have games at home. Why do you want to play an arcade? Like, an arcade has like a giant fucking DDR table. I could just like fucking bust some shit moves. The arcades have like Guitar Hero as well. Bro, every time I go to an arcade, I always play Guitar Hero. I'm shit at it, don't get me wrong. I always play on medium difficult. Oh, I love that shit, man.
The buttons look
yeah,
pretty satisfying despite how small they are, and there's even these cute little concave shapes for better grip. This was obviously heavily used for Mario Paint, which even has Switch 2 support with the Joy-Con 2 mouse. But more on that later.
I like it.
It's got a trackball.
Guys, should we do another Mario Paint stream? Should we do another painting with Musty stream? Bob Musty over here.
Which is how
Painting
you
some
know
happy
this
little
is
trees.
one hell of an old controller. While the tech behind a trackball is still really cool, it's not going to be as precise or accurate as a laser or optical mouse. So while it does work, you can feel the difference in this monitor.
I don't remember what stream that was. I need to archive that bit. That bit was funny.
Even lag behind your movements. But for the time and the games on display, it does the job relatively well.
Okay, I'll just put this in D.
37, Wii Balance
The balance board, you know? I never really played Wii Fit. I never played any of the other Wii games, if I'm being honest. The only one I had is Wii Sports. I never played any of the Wii games. They never really interested me.
It's crazy how popular Wii Fit was for like 3 seconds, and then it just disintegrated off the face of the earth. While most people use the balance board for Wii Fit only, it was actually supported by over 100 titles.
Really?
It could even be used for a few Wii U games, but I mostly played Wii Fit and Super Monkey Ball Step and Roll with it. The balance board
there was a Super Monkey Ball game with this shit? Oh, man.
Capable. It does a lot more than call you fat. It can also track and sense where weight is being distributed, which means it's much easier to make games with.
Is that any good, guys? Can we play it?
It also came with rubber foot pieces, which is nice if you're playing on a carpet or something. And it's also really easy to sync to the Wii. While this is essentially just a fancy DDR pad, it's a novel idea for its time. 36. GameCube DK Bongos.
Okay. Is it weird that I own these, but I've never used them? I'm not kidding, chat. I walked past the CEX, I saw these in a window for 10 quid and I bought them. I don't think I own Donkey Konga. I just want the bongos. I need to put it like in the centerpiece of my coffee table. So people go, I've got a pair of bongos. You actually play the bongos? I'll just like hitting them for a bit, you know? Put this in D as well. The bongos, guys, I'll be real with you. They just look cool. They're cool enough to be put in B.
Look at the greatness I'm holding.
That's what I'm saying.
DK Bongos, for crying out loud. Just the fact that these exist at all makes them way more interesting and fun to use. Their primary usage is with Donkey Konga 1 and 2, but you can also use them for DK Jungle Beat. The bongos actually have 2 different internal buttons on each pad, as well as a microphone to pick up clapping and a start button. The bongos are just stupid fun to use, and they're pretty accurate and responsive too. There's really only a few setbacks. One, they're very noisy, so it's not something you can play if you're trying to be quiet at night, and they also hurt your hands after a while, although I don't think that's necessarily the bongos' fault. If you're slapping your hands on anything for long enough, they're gonna get sore eventually. So even though only a few games can be played, it's pure glee to slap the shit out of these.
I gotta use them. I gotta use them sooner rather than later.
Pokeball Plus.
The Pokeball Plus? This is something I would have loved to have bought if it wasn't like full price. It looked like a cool novelty. Like you can use a controller like a Pokeball to play the game. But like I'm just like, it was too expensive, wasn't it?
Be the ballsiest controller idea of all time. Pun fully intended. The idea is incredible. Turn the little button into a joystick and add a tiny button at the top.
How much was this? I think at launch it was full price. Hang on, let me look it up real quick. Look at that shit, bro. God damn, man. What are we doing here?
It's genuinely brilliant. But this controller is, well, it's a f***ing spear. Dare I say, spherical? And look, I got nothing against spears, but playing an entire game while awkwardly gripping the Pokeball was never gonna work that well. I can appreciate that the joystick can be pushed down, it has motion controls, there's rumble, and I love the Easter eggs.
Oh, yes, sorry, I was waiting for like the punchline. Is that how he says sphere? Bandy, your mind works in mysterious ways. That's pretty
And when
neat.
you catch a Pokemon, it plays that Pokemon cry. It is genuinely so fun to physically throw the controller like a Pokemon trainer when trying to catch a Pokemon in Let's Go Pikachu and Eevee. But unfortunately, it's just not comfortable to use for more than an hour at a time. The motion controls are not
Yeah, it feels
very
big,
accurate
honestly.
either. It takes some practice to get used to them. Oh, and it's also the only way to get Mew in the Let's Go games, and it's a one-time use, which means brand new Pokeball Plus controllers cost, oh dear, $34.
Oh, but yeah, crazy. Yeah, way too high. I'm putting this in
Virtual Boy, by far one of the strangest controllers Nintendo has ever made.
See, here's the thing about the Virtual Boy controller. It doesn't look like it's that bad. I think ranking it this low is like, oof. Because like this looks like the most controller-looking controller of like the old controllers. Like with the NES controller, this shit's like a brick. There's no ergonomics involved in all. This is a bit better, but like we're still not at normal controllers. This feels like what is more in line with like a regular controller in the modern day. You know what I mean? A couple of long grips for a bit of like grippage. You got like sticks on either side, which are D-pads on either side. You know?
We've got 2 D-pads, circle-shaped shoulder buttons, and a battery pack that requires 6 AA batteries.
Okay, that's a little crazy. Shit.
Don't get me wrong, it's ergonomically quite comfortable.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. Yeah, it definitely looks it.
The button layout is wonky. The D-pads and buttons feel fine, but then you've got start and select hanging out on the left side. Why are they just as prominently placed as the A and B buttons?
Definitely, yeah.
I get that it looks nice in a symmetrical way, but start and select are meant to be more out of reach. I suppose there's an argument to be made that all the buttons on this controller had to be easily reachable, since you're looking at the
I would say so, actually. I actually never considered that. That actually makes sense, yeah. That's probably why they did it now.
Easier to build muscle memory when they're right next to the D-pad. Also, 2 D-pads? I'm sorry, but that will never not look stupid. And these shoulder buttons are really funky on top of that. They aren't really designed to be wrapped around a finger like a PlayStation or GameCube controller shoulder button. They're just awkwardly there, I guess. Look, the Virtual Boy controller works fine for what it is. It's just really, really wonky.
It definitely looks wonky. I'd put it in C. You're right, yeah. 6 batteries is way too much. Like, if something is holding more than 4 batteries, don't give it batteries, make it rechargeable. Like 4 is the limit. The moment, because like obviously batteries, the lowest pack of batteries is a 4-pack of batteries. The moment I have to buy 2 4-packs or like a 10-pack, I'm just like, no, you gotta go, I'm sorry.
My favorite has to be these little grips on the bottom. They aren't that big, but they definitely mend around the hands a little bit better.
See, that one looks a bit, yeah, definitely. Definitely use that over the normal one.
Tilts them and adds a concave mold for better gripping. The turbo buttons are a nice addition too, but the speed of them can't be controlled like the NES Advantage. But overall, I'd say this is an improvement over the original if it wasn't for the disaster on the left side.
What is it?
We've got here is a cycloid, and no, that's not the name for the next pandemic strain.
Cycloid 19, Bandy.
A D-pad with this slider for smoother movement. While I love
The new
the
disease
idea
game
and
is the new
concept,
disease.
It doesn't make any
Cycloid
sense for
19.
NES games. NES titles only offer 4 to 8 directions of movement, so there's really no reason for it. The little nub just feels awkward to use. 32.
Yeah, the Cycloid 19 definitely does feel a bit weird. I don't know, it still looks alright. I'll put it at C. What the okay. This is like a rejected DJ, a piece of DJ equipment. Never seen this one in my life.
A dedicated arcade controller from Nintendo themselves is pretty unheard
Okay,
of,
oh, that
but
makes
there
sense.
are a lot of big fighting games on the console, so it makes sense. What we've got here is a pretty typical board with a large joystick, 6 big buttons, and turbo switches for every single button. They
Oh
feel
my
nice and
God.
responsive, although the joystick is on the stiffer side.
I've
That's
never
not-
used an arcade controller, like one of those like portable arcade controllers. Obviously, like an arcade controller, like outside an arcade, basically, a portable arcade controller. I'm calling them. I never used one of those in my life before. It seems like something that's a bit too big, but I'd still love to give it a try nonetheless. You know?
Not necessarily a
See people play Smash. Yeah, I've seen people play Smash Melee with those as well, like the box controllers. I don't know, man. Fight stick, is that the term? Thank you.
It still works really well when you're using it. I'm just more used to looser arcade sticks. Since it's so big, it's not going to shift around when you're playing as long as it's placed on some sort of flat surface. 31. NES Advantage.
A fight stick, but for only 2 buttons. Amazing. Scores. You know, this seems kind of cool. I'll put it in C.
Might seem strange to rank this higher than the Scoremaster, but the quality of the controller itself is a little better and has more customization. You've got your arcade stick, the extra buttons, and this includes turbo.
I like how big the buttons are on this one. You know? If you're gonna have a big fuck off controller, make the buttons massive. Like if we're using his finger for scale, that's a big button. I like that. I like that a lot, actually, now that I look at it.
What's really cool about the turbo buttons is these dials control the speed of the button press, which is way...
I love how they always find the fun of these pro controllers have turbo. Yeah, it was just one of those things. Every time I got a third-party controller for any console I had, it always had a turbo button, and I always thought that was the coolest shit ever. I can spam a button without spamming the button. That shit's so cool.
More customization than
It's so cool.
It would be such a throwback to see Nintendo make an NES Advantage for Switch Online. People that didn't grow up with Turbo would get a kick out of this. There's also a slow button, which is a little funky. It doesn't work with all games, but the idea is that it pauses the game on its own, which kind of simulates slowing down the game.
Oh, right.
It's not something I've ever
It just
used.
rapidly pauses the game. That's funny. That's funny as hell. You know what? I fuck with the NES Advantage, actually. I'll put this at B. I fuck with that. That's kind of funny.
But I could see it being helpful. The joystick also has a wider range of movement, which is honestly the main reason I prefer it over the Scoremaster. 30. Joy-Con.
Too high. Too high. Too high. I'm sorry. The Joy-Cons are ass. I would say, relative to modern standards, the Joy-Con is probably the worst controller I've ever used. Like with these ones, like again, the infancy of the video game industry, we kind of didn't know what we were doing, or Nintendo was in their weird era. Post Joy-Con 2 as well, yeah, this is like the worst controller. Like, I would say, again, relative to the standard set, worst controller ever made. I'm not even kidding. Actually, the worst controller ever made.
Oh boy, where do I even begin? When I ranked the Nintendo controllers 8 years ago, the Joy-Cons were placed much higher on the list.
7th, you know? I don't even think I'm doing like Joy-Con 2 revisionism or anything. I always thought the Joy-Cons were a mid-controller. Obviously, with the passage of time, it's gone from mid to shit, but I always thought they were kind of just mid. They were too small, and they would drift like a motherfucker, but they were so tiny. My hands, relatively speaking, are not that big. I got relatively small hands. And even I had a tough time holding them. It was what made the PS3 controller, the DualShock 3, also another shit controller. Because the controllers are so comically small. I hate these so much. My Joy-Cons are still fresh, but because I don't even use them. Like, my Pro controller I had for like the, 7 years that I had this. I think I got my original Switch in 2018. So for the 7 years I had my Switch, I had the same Pro controller. Recently I had to throw it out because the plastic on these sticks became dead. And the buttons were becoming like, sticky. They weren't like clicking as quick anymore. So I had to finally throw that away. I retired that 20-pound Pro controller, the Power A Pro controller that I used for 7 years. All because these ones were shit. That's why.
Even now, they're still novel. They have nice feeling buttons and joysticks. The controllers can be used vertically and horizontally.
Yeah, but the question is, how often are you really using them horizontally? Like, having a stick and then 4 buttons just never... Even as horizontally, these ones didn't feel that good. I would say even the Joy-Con 2s, horizontally, they're not that good neither. I'd say they're better because the shoulder buttons are bigger. But even horizontally, this one ain't that good. But it's better than the Switch one, that's for sure. The Joy-Con ones. Way, way, way better.
It also has an IR camera, as well as HD rumble, which honestly does enhance the feel of games due to how much more precise the rumbling is. But now that some time has passed, it's crazy how faulty the Joy-Cons truly are.
Uh-huh.
For one, the SL and SR buttons are way too small. They're
Way
easy to
too
press with
small.
the Joy-Con straps on, but nobody wants to get those things out. And speaking of
Yes.
small, the Joy-Cons are very tiny in the hands.
Yes.
It's not that big of a deal, but it'll make your hands cramp if they aren't attached to the Joy-Con grip. The
Literally.
ZL and ZR buttons also kind of suck.
They
feel
do,
really
yes.
cheap and aren't analog triggers. But the biggest issue of all is the infamous Joy-Con drift. This was a huge problem where the joysticks on Joy-Cons would start drifting out.
Keep
of
spinning,
nowhere,
Bandy,
and
keep
it
spinning.
requires you to take apart the controller to fix it. I would understand a controller breaking after a couple
I
of
had to fucking send mine back. And guess what? They drifted again.
But this was happening a year after launch. These are all the Joy-Cons I own. Want to guess how many don't have the drift? Is it A, 2? Yep. Literally 2 of my Joy-Cons have survived drifting. That
I'm on my 3rd pair currently. My original pair, gone. Sent them back. That second pair, gone as well. Bought a 3rd pair, and they're currently fine, but only because I didn't fucking use them. That's literally the only reason my current pair of Joy-Cons are fine, because I don't fucking use them.
is completely unacceptable.
Suck!
Especially since Nintendo has built a reputation for making high-quality controllers that last. My NES controllers from the 80s still work perfectly. What the hell happened here? That reason alone puts the Joy-Cons pretty low on this ranking. I genuinely wouldn't recommend people buy these because of how likely they are to break. 29.
And aren't they still full price as well, the Joy-Con ones? Aren't they still like stupidly over... Bruv, let me look this up. Argos is supposed to get 60 quid. Kill me. Do you know the worst part is, right? Do you know the worst part is? You're probably thinking, Musty, that's ridiculous. Like with anything, you could buy it secondhand. I am not buying secondhand Joy-Cons. They might be drifting too.
N64, one of the most over-talked about
N64 controller. Better than the Joy-Cons. But yeah, like, this is just like, it's not as uncomfortable to hold as it looks. You need to just grip the middle bit. It is a weird controller, though.
I have no idea what the current consensus is on it today, but it's still a bit of an enigma. I wouldn't say this is a bad controller per se, but it's got its issues. At least mine still works after 30 years, while the Joy-Cons have a high rate of failure and they're not even 10 years old yet. But regardless, this was quite an innovative controller for its time. It was the first to have a proper back trigger button, an analog joystick for home consoles, and attachable accessories like the rumble or controller pack. The buttons still feel really nice too. They've got a nice clickiness to them.
I think the buttons are fine. The stick is what sucks. The stick is like really flimsy. It's just not that good, really. Not only is it just a weird controller to hold in general, the stick is just not. The buttons are good, I'll give them that. I think that's true.
The issue here is the joystick, as it can easily be worn down and lose sensitivity. And you know, since this was one of the first joysticks of this kind built, I can forgive it for that, as it took quite a while for these joysticks to be perfected. You could also say the N64 controller...
I mean, you say that, but like, I'm gonna be honest. I played a PS2 relatively recently, and I even feel like those sticks work decently well. Do you know what I mean? So like, even just one generation later, I think they like kind of perfected sticks. I really do think they did. I could use a DualShock 2 right now and it feels like just perfect. I don't know, maybe that's that N64 Nathaniel defendism kicking it, do you know what I mean? That's what it is, because the DualShock, Sony mastered it one generation later in 2000.
It's stupid, and it is, but functionally, it does what you want it to. Pretty much every game uses either the joystick only or the D-pad only. So with that in mind, you have to move your left hand from one grip to the other. It's not that complicated.
Yeah, it's not that.
28, IQ player.
What is this? Bro's just making up controllers now. It's not even on this thing. You're just making up controllers, bro. What is this?
What we've got here is a Chinese version of the
Bandy's doing it too. Okay, so I guess it is the Chinese controller then.
64, but the console is built inside the controller to get around anti-gaming console laws in China.
Oh yeah, I remember. Wasn't like China really anti-gaming for like the longest time? They still are to this day? Oh my god, that's weird.
Games are loaded onto this memory card, but more can be added. It comes bundled in with Ocarina of Time, Star Fox 64, Mario 64,
it's kind of a neat thing.
64, and Dr. Mario 64. Strangely, most of them are trial limits, so you can only play for around an hour before getting a game over. Except for Dr. Mario 64. That one you can play as long as you want, which is just bizarre. The actual controller is a slight improvement over the original.
Oh, it has... Oh, hang on. I was about to say it has like dual buttons at the back. Only has the one though, just like the GameCube.
much. The joystick is placed in a better spot, but it has the same shoddy quality as before. The overall shape is bulky like an Xbox Duke controller, but it fits pretty nicely in the hands. The buttons are pretty crispy, although I don't like the D-pad at all. It's super squishy, and it has slight concave indentations and all.
I hate these D-pads. When people say the Xbox 360 is like the best controller ever, the Xbox 360 also does this shit with the D-pad. This shit is ass, bro.
You can jiggle the thing all over the place, and it just feels kinda off. The power button is also dangerously close to the start button, making it easy to turn off your game by accident if you're just trying to pause. I also don't like the Z button that much. While it's in a more natural spot, it's a little too close to the L button. I'd still say that overall, the IQ player does the job, but it's just as quirky as the original version.
That sounds fair.
27. Switch Online and 64.
Oh, we're doing the Switch Online variants. Okay.
Though it's been a few years, it's still surreal that Nintendo has brought back the N64 controller.
Yeah, it's weird, honestly.
Exactly the same. It is incredibly authentic. There's really just a few changes. First off, it's wireless, so you don't have to worry about the cable anymore. It's also got a ZR, capture, and
I was wondering where the capture and home buttons were. That's actually pretty neat. I like that. I like that a lot, actually.
And the slot on the back has been filled in completely, since rumble packs are pretty archaic now. It would have been kind of cool if it came with a rumble pack.
Yeah, it would have been cool if they left that slot open, just for the fun of it. But yeah, I guess it makes more sense.
But that'd be a big waste of time and money. It's a fantastic redesign, and it's nice to have an N64 controller.
Yeah, it's pretty neat. I respect it.
26. Famicom.
The
This
Famicom,
is a really neat one. The Japanese NES controller is very different and more stylized.
Like, obviously, I always thought the Famicom just had that, like, that swag. Like, look at this. Like, look at this. This controller has, like, aura, you know? This has. I've always loved the look and the color scheme of the Famicom. Just looks so nice. I love the way the original NES like controller looks. Like this one looks nice. I like this. The black, the gray, the red. It looks nice. This is just like it's a cooler, older brother. This is Daniel. This is cooler Daniel, bro. This is the coolest Daniel to ever do it. Shit. I love how the second controller has the microphone, I think, as well.
In my opinion. It's got the same classic buttons with a concave design for A and B. Start and select are nice and mushy, and the edges are smoothed out, making them comfortable to hold. But the second controller is a different story.
Yeah.
It doesn't have a way to pause, but instead includes a microphone with a volume switch. This was used for a few games. Most notably, it killed Pole's voice in The Legend of Zelda, but it could also be used to bargain with the shopkeepers in Kid Icarus.
That was, oh man, God, I've always wanted to try this feature. It's a shame that we never got a chance to, huh? I think in the 3D Classics version, there's a button combination instead. I think. I just never did it, though.
The only problem? Yeah, it's hardwired to the system. Back in the day, this was way more common, as TVs were a lot smaller and people would sit a lot closer to see what was happening. With that said, this is very impractical in comparison to TVs today.
Shame.
And unfortunately docks the controller a lot of points because of that. But even with that drawback, it's still a pretty sweet design and feels good to play games with.
I only want this. This is definitely aura maxing. It just looks so fucking cool, man. I'm sorry.
25. Famicom Classic Edition. Just look at this. These are the tiniest and most adorable controllers I've ever seen. And yes, they're still hardwired to the system.
That's crazy.
Even though it's built for HD displays. I have to appreciate
That's crazy.
the unabashedly authentic design, despite it being a horrible idea in 2016. For how basic the games are, the smaller size isn't really much of an issue when it comes to hand cramping. 24. NES.
NES controller, huh? I like the NES controller, but it's just... I think what the Famicom has, that has those rounded edges, so it doesn't feel... I don't know if you've ever held one, but like if you hold one for too long, like it starts digging into like your side of your palm. That's the one thing with the NES. And this is like back when companies did not understand ergonomics. They did not get ergonomics, man.
And it still holds up.
Mario saved the industry. The NES saved the industry.
I don't even mind the sharper edges. The controller still feels nice in the hand. Even after...
Really? Bandy, why are you lying to me, bro? Why are you lying? Why are you lying? I'm telling you, that is a lie. Brother is lying.
Also, the sharper edges. The controller still feels nice in the hand, even after several hours of playing. It's also...
Oh, come on. I don't believe you, but I don't believe you. I think I'm being lied to, man. I'm telling you. Now, granted, I've not used an NES controller in a couple of years, but I just remember the one thing. So this is the first controller I ever used. Like, I had an NES when I was a kid, briefly, before we got the PS1. As a kid, I didn't realize it because I was also a kid, you know? Controller-sized controller for a kid-sized controller for a kid. As an adult, though, you can't use this controller, I'm telling you. Bandy's just built different. Maybe, like, growing up, he's got those, like, calloused palms, you know? He's got those super calloused palms. He's crazy. Honestly, I imagine if I ever meet Bandy one and I shake his hand's gonna be, like, twice the thickness of mine, you know what I mean? He's gonna have, like, twice, like, this is gonna be his average hand thickness. That's gonna be mine. He's gonna, like, just... He's gonna crush my hand. That's what he's gonna do, bro. He's gonna... Honestly, the NES controller's fine. The buttons feel nice. It's not that bad. You know what? You as well? Bro, we got some thick-handers in the chat today. Fuck it out.
The speedboard. I unironically use this stupid thing all the time. It just makes fast platformers easier for some reason. 23.
Nah, too AVGN pilled. He's too AVGN pilled, bro. There's the brother whipped out the speedboard. No, I only know this shit from the AVGN episode. He's AVGN built.
Good thing all the time. It just makes fast platformers easier for some reason.
Does it? I don't know. I prefer to hold him myself.
22. Switch Online Famicom. These are very similar to the classic Famicom controllers, although I've noticed that the buttons feel a little bit punchier. There's this very subtle squishiness to the original.
I didn't know the Switch Online version.
A bit firmer in this case. Like with the other Switch Online controllers, they can be slid into the Switch dock for charging, and they also include tiny LNR buttons for easier navigation. I love that the second controller still has the microphone, and just the fact that they're wireless. It's pretty crazy that this is officially the first time the Famicom controllers have been released wirelessly.
Oh, I really want to buy one now, just to have one in my collection.
After all these decades. 21. Switch Online NES. Once again, it feels exactly the same as the original and even the classic edition. If anything, the buttons have a tiny
can I beat lost levels on a Super Famicom Switch Online controller made by Nintendo?
Bit more crunch,
for the Nintendo Switch family of
systems. Just be
systems.
some weird placebo effect, or just the fact that they're newer. These controllers are wireless, of course, and can also charge by inserting them on the sides of the Switch One. I still think this looks so goofy.
It does look goofy.
It makes me wish the other Switch Online controllers had rails too. There's also new LNR buttons, which are used for navigating the Switch menus, just like with the Switch Online Famicom. It really is so neat that Nintendo has kept these controllers alive after
He's playing Ice Climbers as well in the B-roll. Nathaniel, you got 1v1 me on Ice Climbers, bro.
Many years.
You got 1v1 me.
They're still in print, and you can get them in such an accessible way. 20. NES Controller 2/Dogbone.
Oh shit, they got both?
It's enough to get a controller named like a movie sequel, because it truly is the Terminator 2 of controllers. The biggest improvement is that the sharp edges are turned...
Yes, that looks so much... Bruv, give me this controller right now. It's an NES-style controller without the fucking edges? Terrible.
Surrounding the D-pad and
give me 10 of them.
The buttons themselves feel just as nice as before. In fact, they're a bit firmer and clickier. While the Dogbone is admittedly a bit it's totally worth it for how much better
That's not fair.
It feels.
That's not fair, Bandy. I'm not rich like you, bro. Switch Online Genesis, shit.
Genesis. Truly the nightmare blunt rotation nobody saw coming. It's nice that Genesis games can be played through the Switch Online service, and we got an extremely faithful Genesis controller. It's very simple with a D-pad, 3 buttons.
This controller got ruined by the angle of the A and B buttons. What, this one or the Dogbone? This controller is such a weird controller.
And a start button. They're all really nice to press. And I like that the D-pad has extra reach instead of being static like most D-pads. It's kind of the same idea as what the NES Max was going for, but done way better. On the top are a few new buttons. We've got Capture, Home, and a Mode button. This acts as a ZR button and allows you to save or use rewind, which I find to be very interesting. This button isn't on the original 3-button controller, but instead the 6-button version. And it didn't even work for every game. The idea behind the mode button was to switch between 6-button and 3-button mode. It could also simply be used as an extra button in some games, so it's very bizarre to see it added to the Genesis controller and have a completely different function. 18.
Have you guys ever tried... Bro, I really want to try a Sega Genesis controller now. I think I briefly played one at a friend's house as a kid, and I didn't think much of it. I want to try one now. I want to see how weird it actually is.
Switch Online Sega Mega Drive. Like with the NES...
Sick, this one's got how many buttons?
Controllers, the Japanese
you got how many buttons?
A different controller. The Sega Mega Drive shape is similar to the American Genesis one, but is a bit smaller, and it adds 3 extra buttons. The top also
is smaller and more buttons?
same mode button, as well as the
Fucking
extra
hell, Ref.
home and capture ones for the
How many
menus.
buttons?
It's got a pretty nice feel to it. The buttons have a good press to them too. I find it funny how a lot of the games won't ever even need these extra buttons, at least when it comes to the Genesis online catalog. C and Z also count as L and R, so that gives this controller a bit more compatibility than the
They
Genesis
made it for
one.
fighting games? Really?
17.
Bro. Seeing like, what was it, fight sticks, 6-button controllers. Man, fighting games were big in the arcade, man. It was a good selling point for home consoles to some degree, huh? The Wiimote and Nunchuck, yeah? I think these controllers were good. I think the only thing I don't like about the Wiimote Nunchuck is like the D-pad, because it's like kind of... The D-pad always felt like it was a bit too far away. Then again, not too many games made inconvenient use of the D-pad. It felt like reaching any of the buttons that weren't like the B and A buttons were like a bit of a chore. But then again, you didn't really need them as much as they kind of designed around that, if that makes sense. Like, I think just holding this controller was tons of fun, even if there weren't enough buttons. I think this definitely needed a few more extra buttons, like, at hand, which is why I kind of suffered, I would say, somewhat. But it was just nice.
It may just look like a typical remote.
And they're comfortable as well, yeah. They're definitely comfortable, so you don't have to worry about comfort neither. These are just good-ass controllers. And of course, the speaker just added a bit of charm and fun, didn't it?
It's so much more than that. It's wireless and introduces motion controls that are powered by an accelerometer and optical sensor. It also has a speaker built in, a home button which Nintendo had never done before, and also 1 and 2. They're just
Yeah, I
the
don't know what
usual
those were for.
buttons, but still, seeing 1 and 2 on a Nintendo controller when buttons are usually named after letters is kind of strange. You can of course attach a nunchuck to the remote, and it uses motion controls too, and gives you access to a couple extra buttons and a joystick. They all feel really nice and are placed in a smart
I think my single favorite use of the Wiimote Nunchuck came from like Mario Strikers Charged. One of the secret tips that most of the people I play with, my siblings and my friends, didn't know, is that you could have 2 items in your item slot in that game. If it was like rotate out items, say for example you had like a chain jump and like a mushroom, you'd like use the mushroom to save the chain jump for later. Do you know what you had to do? You had to like, you gave like the nunchuck a quick shake and it swapped the items over. I love that, man. It was just like, I used to just make sure that like they didn't see, you know? It took them ages to figure it out how I was doing it. Just give it a quick shake. And you're able to use your item at the back. It was so good.
With the remote, you can easily hold it vertically and reach the D-pad, A, and the back B button. All of this while not accidentally pausing because they're small and out of the way. And the C and Z buttons on the nunchuck wrap around your fingers quite nicely.
They do.
Hell, there's a freaking power button to turn on and off the console from far away. Just
We'll see. The 1 or 2 buttons I'll be familiar with using as a TV remote a lot, but never played it with a game controller. I think those definitely work as like kind of to like familiarize non-gamers, because this was like a console that was kind of marketed towards casuals, wasn't it?
What I really like about the Wii Remote is just how versatile it is. You can pretty comfortably play it as a right and left-handed person, and you can also hold the remote sideways like an NES controller. With that said, the motion controls are not perfect. There's also a ton of games that were destroyed by them, like Sonic and the Secret Rings, Donkey Kong Barrel Blast, and the hundreds of minigame shovelware collections that were released. So many...
Bro, you did not own a Wii unless you had that dog shit that dog shit shovelware video game, bro. Like everyone in the hood was playing carnival games. Everyone and their mother was playing carnival games, bro. Everyone, you know? Everyone had that one shovelware shithouse game that was just in their house, and it's like, who invited blood onto the team, man? You had like Mario Galaxy, you had Brawl, you had Mario Kart Wii, you had fucking Mario Strikers, you had fucking like all these games. And yet you had that one shitty shovelware game in the house, man. Eminem's Beach Party. Like, what was Blood doing there, man? What was he doing there? It's not fair. They don't have Major Minor's Majestic March. Nah, that's on you, man. We had Disney Princess Enchanted Journey. Fucking hell. Fling Smash? Yeah, no. Everyone and their mother had one of those.
Games and franchises were heavily stilted because they felt forced to add in motion controls, and so many games suffered from it. And interestingly, Nintendo later released a Wii Motion Plus remote that allowed for more complex motions, which really did make a difference with games like Wii Sports Resort and Skyward Sword. So while I don't like how much the motion controls were shoved into so many games that didn't need them, it's still a pretty solid controller.
Definitely.
16, Joy-Con 2.
Ooh, 16 only, yeah? God, I'll put this in S. Easy yes, bro.
I might one day regret putting the Joy-Con 2s this high on the list. It's important.
Really? It is high? Okay.
Important to note that this video is being filmed a couple months after the Switch 2 has come out, so there's always a chance that by like 2030, Joy-Con drift will be back in full force.
Oh yeah, okay, that's true. Like, yeah, if these start drifting, yeah, this is going like way the fuck down, bro. As of now,
this is a massive improvement over the original.
Definitely.
It has a slicker design, is much larger in the hands, bigger joysticks and buttons, and the SL and SR buttons are actually sized for human fingers.
Real.
There's also a new C button, which opens up game chat. And yes, it's pretty stupid that it will eventually become paywalled and obsolete after several years. But man, these are genuinely huge improvements.
Who's hopping on
that are
game
so
chat?
much more comfortable to use.
Who's hopping on game chat right now?
These things on a grip, it's pretty comparable to a Pro controller. I wouldn't be surprised if people just stick with doing this and not getting a Pro controller.
That's what I've done so far. Literally, yep.
Expensive now.
Yep.
And it's pretty dumb that if you want to use the GL and GR back buttons, you have to buy the charging grip as it doesn't come with the console itself. But you can't forget about mouse mode.
The what? Sorry? The what? DLC buttons? What?
Crap is so expensive now. And it's pretty dumb that if you want to use the GL and GR back buttons.
The GL and the GR? Are we just making up buttons now? He's just saying any letters now. What the fuck? I did not know they had extra buttons. You did not know? My ones don't come with that. The fuck are the GL and GR buttons, bro? The Pro controllers did really? God damn. Because like one of the things I loved about my Switch 1 Pro controller is I did have like 2 buttons at the back that you could program to like which buttons do they emulate, you know? Like when I played like Breath of the Wild, for example, I had like one of the back buttons like the attack button essentially. So I could just like press it like this so I didn't have to like move my finger here. And it felt very natural after a while. So I don't know if you could do that with those. Oh, that's basically what it is? Oh, it's an official capacity? Oh, that's amazing.
But you can't forget about mouse mode. We've already seen Nintendo make the SNES and N64 mouse, but combining that with a normal controller...
Rebind the chat. Can you rebind the game chat button too? Oh shit, okay. I'm learning a lot of things today.
Genius. Instead of using a laser, the mouse can sense scrolling through the use of a tiny camera, and the magnets make a huge difference. It's so much more seamless to attach and remove them thanks to this button on the back. Even the wrist strap attachments are easier to add and take off. It's premium quality across the board. Hopefully we don't get Joy-Con drift this time.
Let's fucking hope not.
15. Wii U gamepad.
You're ranking the Joy-Con 2s lower than the gamepad. The fucking dinner tray, man. Dinner tray gaming, yeah, Bandy? Fucking dinner tray gaming. They're a good controller. They're a good controller. And I like the asymmetrical gameplay that offers, but that's less to do with the controller, more to do with the screen on it. Yeah, no, I'm like, come on, man. You can't be doing this.
Make fun of the Wii U as much as you want.
I will.
In fact, I'll join you by pointing and laughing at it. But the gamepad, Nintendo was on to something here. This is actually a really great controller. For how big it is, it's shockingly comfortable.
For me, it's less about the controller, more the asymmetrical gameplay it provided. Like, the fact that it offered a second screen for you. Like, if the Switch 2 came with, like, an attachment that just offered a second screen like this, so it could offer that same level of asymmetrical gameplay, I'd love it. It's just the screen was obviously beyond the controller, which kind of makes it better, you know?
The hold and is pretty lightweight. The touchscreen is resistive, so it can be used with your finger and stylus. The buttons and joysticks are really nice and have a great feel to them. And the D-pad is one of the best ones Nintendo has ever produced, as it has pinpoint accuracy and still works perfectly to this
still
day.
like the Joy-Con 2s, to be honest.
is also added in, allowing you to scan an amiibo for a bunch of different titles.
Don't have any of those.
It's got great motion controls with an accelerometer and gyroscope included. But man, there's a lot of weird quirks as well. For starters, the battery is absolutely atrocious.
Yeah, it's terrible. It is terrible. The battery life on this shit is ass. And it also doesn't help that my charger for it is a bit finicky. So, like, I can't even charge it while playing anymore. Because, you know, like when chargers do that thing where, oh, you got to put it in the right position to get it to charge? Yeah, my gamepad charger is exactly like that now. So even if I do want to play, like in the short bit I was playing Nintendo Land with Brianna, yeah, I had to, like, it was ridiculous, you know?
Now, of course, the Wii U is getting pretty old and batteries degrade over time, but even back then, the maximum time
it was still
like
ass.
2 to 3
it's like 2 hours, yeah.
Average. There's also a camera that I might have used one time for Wii U chat, but that's about it. Then we've got the TV button, which really has no use nowadays.
Okay, in all fairness, the TV button control, the TV button actually got a lot of use because my TV, like, we never had a controller. Like, for the longest time, the remote control, like, was lost for my TV. And the fact that I could program this to, like, work as a remote was actually amazing. I am probably, like, top 10 Like, if we're going to, like, playtime, like, active use in the world, using the TV button for it, you know? I'm not joking either. This got a lot of use from me.
Unless you've lost your TV remote or something like that.
Yeah, so me, literally me.
The signal is also really short. You can only go about 20 to 25 feet away from the Wii U before the bottom screen stops working. So while I still think the gamepad is nice, there's obviously way better options out there that don't force feed a bunch of gimmicks.
And also, again, when I was the brief time we played Nintendo Land, the screen also lags sometimes too. Like, it was brief little skips. It wasn't like anything crazy. But I also remember this happening when the Wii U was like my main console, if that makes sense. Like, occasionally the screen would just like, it would have like a bit brief like blip, you know? And it happened when I was playing Nintendo Land too. So like, that also just was so fucking annoying, yeah.
14, Wii Classic.
Oh, this? No, this shit was really? No, this controller was terrible. Oh, no way. No, this is terrible. I'm putting this in bro. This is terrible. Bandy, you're lying to me. You're actually lying to me. The sticks were way too close to each other. The buttons did not feel that good. And then also, just to look at them, these two are filled in. These two are clear. This controller is terrible. I think I had like one pair of shoulder buttons as well. So we're in the one pair of shoulder buttons era instead of two, like you're supposed to. No, this controller is terrible.
The Switch Online controllers are not Nintendo's first time making dedicated controllers for retro games. Back in the Wii era, we had this bad boy, as well as
no. Hang on. Sorry, Bandy, you're showing it in your footage. The sticks are so close together, you can touch your thumbs together. Hang on, I'm sorry. That is objectively terrible stick design. They're supposed to be far enough where you can comfortably go around or use in any angle without like your fingers getting in the fucking way. And that's what, the 14th best controller ever made, yeah? With that glaring design fault. You're lying to me.
It's somewhat modeled after a SNES controller, but with two octagonal gate joysticks. It's got a pretty nice feel and grip to it, and the buttons all of a satisfying.
Too small, bro.
But there's a couple of weird
DualShock 3 problem.
We've got the ZL and ZR buttons that are hanging out at the very top.
Way too small.
To the L and R buttons.
I remember, again, relatively speaking, my hands are quite small. Way too small. So when I say a controller's too small, it's way too small.
While they are easy to reach due to the controller being fairly small, why not have these underneath LNR so they'd be easier to get to? It's just a bit strange is all. The Wii Classic is also powered through the Wii Remote.
And then that's the... I'm so glad. I didn't want to say it, chat. If you also didn't believe... Just in case anyone didn't have it, you have to plug this into a Wii Remote. It's not even standalone. This shit siphons the battery power from a Wiimote. Whose idea was this, Brody?
13. Wii
Okay,
Pro.
now this is like the Joy-Con 2 to the other's Joy-Con. This is way better. Way better. Good lord.
It's basically the Wii Classic.
This was fantastic.
It fixes all the problems the original...
Look, this was fantastic. This was a fantastic controller. I think it's on here as well. This is a great controller. Honestly, fantastic. I'd put like the very top of A tier. Fantastic controller.
One had. The
Look
cord
at
now
that.
rests on the top, the overall size is bigger, and the ZL/ZR buttons are behind L and R for easier reach. It also has grips on the sides, which makes it a bit easier to hold. It's one of Nintendo's first...
That's the wrong one. Was that the wrong one? Oh, my bad. Where is it then? Is it this one? Is this one? There we go.
controllers that still looks like what most modern ones have become today. 12. SNES. A truly revolutionary
SNES controller, huh? I like it, but I'm not in love with it. That's the thing. Again, it falls for the era of, like, too small, you know? It's too small. I put it in B because it's still a good controller. It has that rounded, like, design, so it's, like, comfortable to hold. Too small, though. It's just too small. I think it's just aged not that good. Retro glaze. It definitely feels like a retro glaze, I'll be real with you. This is the one time it'll catch me place Japanning. The Super Famicom one just looked way better. I like this whole purple, like, aesthetic they were going for. I don't fuck with it, man. I don't fuck with it at all. This is the one where the Japanese got it right.
This has set the standard for decades, and the original on the Super Nintendo is still fantastic. All the buttons feel right, and I like how Y and X are concave and A and B are convex. This naturally guides your thumb to a place to hold Y and X for games that might have running, and use A and B to jump or do other actions.
That's actually pretty neat. I actually never noticed that, to be honest.
Start and Select have a bit more mushiness than I'd want, but it also makes sense since they're barely used for anything outside of pausing a game or navigating a menu. It's a legendary controller, and it's far from the only version of it out there. 11. Super Famicom. It's a very similar controller, but this design was released in Japan as well as the PAL regions. The main difference is the colored buttons, and Y and X are also convex. While I like the concave buttons on the American version, in reality they really don't make that much of a difference when you're actually playing a game. I honestly just like the colors. It's extremely rare to see controllers nowadays get this wacky with the color palette. I think the colored buttons purposefully stick out to show Nintendo's confidence with their design. They know how great it is to have this 4-button layout and aren't afraid to show it off. 10. SNES Classic Edition. Like the other classic controllers, the design and look is identical to its counterpart. The main difference is it works with
bigger
the
though, at
Classic
least?
Edition, allowing you to play SNES games in HD. The cord was also pretty short, like with the NES Classic Edition, but it's pretty easy to find extenders to fix the problem.
Oh, hang on, here we go.
6. Wii U Pro.
The Wii U Pro, yeah, this is another one. This is another goated controller, man. Is the Wii U Pro. It was just a bulkier version of like this one, basically. And it had like the grips were like angled. Come on now.
Might be the best thing that ever came out during the Wii U era.
And they finally fixed the glaring error, chat. They're all capitalized now. They're all capitalized. Whoa, yes. That's how it's supposed to work. And like you would think, but one of the things I love about this controller as well is that playing with a DualShock for like most of my life, you would think like, oh, two sticks at the bottom, like, and like these two at the top. I found getting used to them was very, very easy. Like, even though I have like a PlayStation muscle memory, very easy to get used to this design. It did not take me that long to adjust, you know?
The form factor is perfect. It melds into my hand so nicely. All the buttons.
I think it's the first time they made like a genuinely like fantastic controller. You know what I mean? This is like the fight. It took Nintendo the Wii U era to make like their first like bang-in controller, like just like standard. Like obviously the GameCube is fantastic, but that's a bit like weird and quirky. This is the first time they just made like a bog standard controller and just went, we can make good bog standard controllers. We don't have to be like quirky burger all the time, you know what I mean?
Nice and meaty, the joysticks feel great, and the best part, it has an 80-hour battery life, which might be the best battery I've ever heard of from a controller. How on earth did they even achieve this? Well, believe it or not, it actually uses the 3DS battery. And since there's no motion controls, there's nothing holding it back from having an insanely long usage.
I actually didn't know that. Fun fact. Thank you, Bandy.
The lack of motion controls does hurt it a tiny bit, since the gamepad has them and uses them for some games, which might make this controller incompatible with some titles. But no worries, just use some rubber bands and attach a Wii remote to get the same effect.
Do you know what that reminds me of? Do you know do you know what like a new PlayStation is about to come out? Oh, PlayStation 6. When the PlayStation 6 is about to come out, chat, you're gonna see a viral image of like someone sellotaping 2 PS3s. It happens every time a new PlayStation is coming out. Someone goes, "Hey guys, I got the new PlayStation," and then like they just sellotape 2 of the odd ones to equal the number. That's what it reminds me of. I love that.
That was literally the official solution to play Splatoon with the Wii U Pro, and I find that to be absolutely...
What? Oh, it's on Incopedia has me covered, chat. You're joking. The player must plug in a Wii Classic Controller Pro into the Wii Remote and use them as a controller for battle. Fuck my life. Yo, what are we doing here? What are we okay? Are we okay? As an Easter egg, matches can also be a combination of Wii U Pro Controller, Wii Classic Controller Pro, and a Wii U Plus and a Wii Motion Plus was hinted at in the Sunken Scroll 26. This allows the player to have motion controls. To perform this, the player must hold down the D-pad. Oh my god. And even acknowledged it in the game as well. Yeah, this is elite ball knowledge, man.
And I find that to be absolutely hilarious.
That is hilarious.
It's a fantastic controller, but there's still a few that overcome it. 5. Switch Pro. I used to consider this to be the best Nintendo controller of all time.
I've never used one, to be honest. This is like one of the few modern controllers I've just not used. This is the Switch Pro. I've heard it's really good, though. I've heard it's really, 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 really good.
Clashes so much with the GameCube one, but now that the entire Switch 1 generation has passed, I think it takes a very close second. Compared to the Wii U Pro, the buttons are nice and big, and everything mends with your hands even better. The ergonomics on the handles feel...
I like that it like mimics like an Xbox controller a bit more now, if that makes sense. Like the layout. If they took this controller and just made it mimic the Xbox layout, which I would say is my preferred layout, if I'm being honest. So if it's literally just a Wii U Pro with like Xbox layout, I don't see no reason why this shouldn't be yes as well, if you ask me. This is it. Like it seems like it's similar enough, but it's just got the better layout, if you ask me.
great, the joysticks are smooth, and it's also got motion controls integrated inside. But with all that said...
And that D-pad looks decent. I don't know how good it is to use, but it's not the mushy D-pad that the Xbox 360 has.
There's a couple of small...
And it feels amazing. Oh, okay.
Things I don't like about it. While the D-pad works well for most games, it has this weird tendency to occasionally do misinputs.
Really?
A perfect example of this is from Tetris. I couldn't use the D-pad on the Pro Controller for that game because the up button would get registered every once in a while when I didn't touch it. What's strange is that this doesn't happen very often, but it's just often enough that the D-pad can be a little annoying for fast.
Okay, yeah, I don't think you can... I don't think... surely you can't be having a bad D-pad, surely. Can't be having a bad D-pad, lad.
Pace games. I also wish that the shoulder buttons were analog triggers, but it's not the end of the world. It's still a fantastic controller, and is only topped by a few others.
Okay.
4. Switch Pro 2.
Switch
I don't know
Pro
how
2.
Nintendo did it, but they somehow made both Pro controllers look identical, but feel so different in the hands.
Really?
I think the main difference is the...
Is the Switch Pro 2 on this one as well? It's not... Why is there like a 3DS? It's like controllers? Isn't it the Switch Pro 2? That's crazy.
Handles themselves. They use a much smoother material compared to the coarser textures for the first Pro. The joysticks have this uncanny amount of smoothness, and it's something you won't notice until you actually hold it in your hands. Moving a joystick around for the first Pro controller feels nice, but then you realize there's a subtle amount of resistance that isn't in the second version. It also has a headphone jack.
Hey, that's good. That is good. I like that. I actually really fuck with that so hard. One of my favorite things about the DualShock 4 and the DualSense is the headphone port. Fucking love that shit. It's such a cool feature. Such a good feature, man.
Nintendo, and it includes all the new Switch 2 features like the game chat button. It even has really subtle GL and GR buttons.
Oh, and it has... I might have to get this controller, chat. Headphone jack and, like, mappable buttons. This is, like, my perfect controller. Holy shit, man. I need this so bad, actually.
As any button per game.
What?
Now, of course, only time will tell if the D-pad will hold up this time, but I've tested it a bit with Tetris again and didn't have any issues. But my opinion could change after a few years of owning this.
Switch 1 Pro controller, D-pad that works, headphone jack and mappable buttons. I think this might be the best controller of the lot, I'll be real with you. This might be the best one of the lot.
3. GameCube Wavebird. I've really
what the fuck? Okay, this is the GameCube, like, gained some weight. What the fuck?
And hard about this, but I think just the fact that GameCube controllers have been consistently reproduced for one game really says how incredible it is. Now, of course, what I've got here is the GameCube's wireless version, which is a little bit different to the original. It looks and feels fairly similar, but the bottom is filled in and connects to the GameCube via this dongle. You have to set the channel on the controller and dongle to be the same number. While this technically works, I've also noticed that the connection will randomly drop sometimes, even if I'm close to the dongle. And this happened when these controllers were new because I own one of these.
Okay, in all fairness though, a controller can be good, but if it doesn't work, then like that marks it down for me. Do you know what I mean? Because then it becomes potential, man. Does that make sense? So if what you're telling me is you have the GameCube's design, which I love, but a version that's wireless and doesn't like sometimes as well, I'm like, I don't want it.
And I remember having issues with the connection even back then. And that's why I've ranked it as the lowest one. Maybe it has to do with the fact that radio frequency-based signals just aren't as strong as Bluetooth. I was curious about this, so I looked it up, and apparently the opposite effect can happen, where Bluetooth can get disrupted from radio waves. I'm not sure, but either way, there's better versions that we're about to get into.
Yeah, I would not put it as low as 3 if you're telling me it's the GameCube layout, but sometimes it drops in and out. I'll put this at like C, honestly. Because like, surely a controller's most important bit is that it's responsive, right? It can have the best layout on planet Earth, but like, you could give me a game controller and an NES controller. If one like drops inputs even 1% of the time and the other doesn't, I'm always using the one that doesn't, you know? Like,
2.
It's a no-brainer.
GameCube. There we go.
The GameCube. I'm guessing the number 1 is going to be the GameCube Pro or whatever, the Switch 1 edition, you know? Yeah, the GameCube just fucks, guys. I'll be real with you. The GameCube just kind of fucks.
What I find so fascinating about the GameCube controller is just how purposeful every single aspect of it is. It doesn't go for any sense of symmetry like modern controllers do, but it doesn't have to. It works just as well as an Xbox or PS5 controller.
Guys, it just works. Like the stick, it just works. The D-pad, like I was saying, the D-pad's maybe a little bit tiny, but I think it still works. The buttons, like, again, you would think this button layout looks weird and, like, feels weird. But, like, I feel like the games were designed around it so perfectly that it just works. The clicky-ass shoulder button. Like, don't get me wrong, I like the snappy, trigger buttons on this. But like, the GameCube controller just having those like really big, bulky like triggers that you can really depress analogs as well. Come on, man. I think, you know, I'm gonna it definitely is a bit of nostalgia, but like those clicky ass shoulder buttons just really win me over.
We've got a big green A button that's used as the primary button for games. Then there's B that's smaller and off to the side, but still easily reachable. Y and X are smartly wrapped around the A button, so they can be used in tandem with A. The joystick is nice and big, and has an octagonal gate allowing for more precise aiming. L and R are a hybrid of digital and analog triggers. You can lightly push down for the analog feel, and full push for a digital click. Combining both of these together is ingenious. It gives you such a huge range of options when it comes to using shoulder buttons in games.
So
then of course you've got the little Z button on top, which is mostly for menu stuff, and a C button down below, which can act as buttons for an extra joystick. My only issue with this controller is the D-pad, as it's a bit too small.
Yeah, literally that's the only issue. But like very few games use the D-pad, so like in practicality it doesn't end up being much of a factor. Yeah, it definitely is.
But it hardly matters.
Is the glaze valid?
Everything else is so
it's definitely valid. Like, for me, it's like my favorite controller of all time. I would say if I use the Switch 2 Pro controller, I might have a different tune. But like, so basically, if you're asking me based on the controllers I've used, it's either this, the Joy-Con 2s, the Wii U Pro, or the Switch Pro. And if you're asking me of these four, which one I'd rather use, it's the GameCube. You know, this is like a decent second, but not a close second. Decent second, close third, close fourth, you know? Because like, from what I've heard, I've not used this neither. Technically, it's just these three, I guess.
Thoughtfully put together.
The GameCube controller is garbage, sorry. I'm not timing you out because you said it's garbage. I'm timing you out because you said sorry. You should never apologize. Never apologize, okay? Apologize to me for saying sorry, okay?
Will likely continue to be reproduced as the years go on. Before going to number 1...
What is that? Hang on. Bro. Bandy, what are we doing here? Bandy, what are we doing here? Color TV game. I know he said this is not number 1, but like, fucking hell.
I'd like to give an honorable mention to the Color TV game 15.
Did this save the industry by any chance? Is that what it is? Is that why this is being featured?
Before Nintendo made the NES, they were making Pong consoles as well as a few other basic games, and the TV game 15 was the first one to have a detachable controller. I love how it literally says controller on the controller. I guess it was one hell of a foreign concept back then. It's got a little turn dial to move the Pong paddles, and that's about it. The Racing 112 also has detachable paddle controllers, but only for 2 players.
I mean, in all fairness, if you had to add an honorable mention to like show off another bit of video game industry, well, you know what? Fair. Right before your first place one, I think that's fair, right? I think that's fair.
Games on these consoles are literally as basic as they can be, so I didn't think it would be fair to count it towards all the other controllers, but I figured it was at least worth bringing up. 1. Switch Online GameCube. Oh hey, they did it again. This is the exact same...
It's the exact same controller, but the Switch 1 version, huh?
...controller, except that it's wireless and has a few extra buttons. And as you'd expect, they're all for getting around Switch menus or game chat. I also love this tiny ZL button. I don't know why.
I just wish that one was bigger. You know, I just wish this button was bigger to match the Z. It just looks weird, doesn't it? I liked it. It's not like, it's firstly a symmetrical thing, but why? Why is it that tiny though?
But it just looks funny when you look at it next to the regular Z button. But that's not all. Nintendo went out of their way and improved on the D-pad a bit.
Did they?
If you go back to any of the older versions, whether that be the original or even the re-releases on Wii U/Switch 1, the D-pad has that same squishy feel to it. This one, however, is a bit firmer, which makes it a little nicer to press.
Okay.
It's the most surprising change out of all the Switch Online controllers, because typically Nintendo doesn't really change anything. But this is kind of substantial, and maybe it's just because it's brand new, but I really think it helps make it the best.
Yeah, if they start filling out that GCN catalog on Switch 2, I'll buy a GameCube Switch Online controller, definitely.
Controller of all time.
Seems like it'd be very fun.
It was fun to go back to this topic and really explore the strange world of Nintendo controllers.
Hey, this was fun. This is a fun watch.
With that said,
I felt like I learned a lot. I felt like you gave each controller its time of day. I think you went into enough detail while like keeping the pacing good. I think this is a really well done video. I'm gonna be honest. This was really, really well done. I don't really have any notes. I think you talked about the good and the bad quite fairly. I really like this, honestly. New Bandy W. It's not just old Bandy that's charming. New Bandy is charming too. They're never adding me. Listen. Let me half my copium, okay? Let me half my copium, brother. It's always strange to see when a creator remakes an old video with new information. Also, why that you had... Oh, he fell for the shop job. Poor girl fell for the shop job. It was obviously this is the part where Nathaniel Bandy says, haha, haha, it was just a shop job, haha. This is the part where he says that, right? That was just so I read him like a book. I read him like a book. I knew. See, I knew he'd do the ha at the end. I just knew it. Something told me. I don't know. I had a feeling. Thanks for calling me broke. Hang on, what's this one?
I bought 50. But the actual
Did everyone just fall for the bait? Time for a blast the past. This was in 2019 you made the over? Now it's time to remaster the remake about 6 to 7 years later. Yeah? Could have just said 7, gang? I think it's funny that when Bandy's talking about the NFC reader on the gamepad, he uses Steve and me, but that isn't compatible with the Wii U. That is really funny. That was really fun. Thanks for... I needed that Joker explainer. I needed it, definitely. A sphere is a circle with 3 dimensions. A spear is a big pointy stick. Classic. Classic Bandy. Yeah, dude, this enraged me? Damn, he's mad. Bandy, you got this guy mad. He's mad, bro. He's so mad. Get him. Bandy, get his ass. Get his ass, bro. Kill him. Mario Party 6. Hang on.
Used it several times with Mario Party 6 and 7 minigames.
Yeah, Bandy did that on purpose. He did that on purpose. Mario Party 6 and 7 minigames. He did that on purpose. You know that. Hold on, why don't you... Never mind. Yes he is. Who? Huh? 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 A lot of confused people here. My favorite is the Wii U gamepad in my opinion, lol. By Mario Master 101 official. Why can't I have comments like this? Why can't I have comments from like Mario fan 6274, you know? Man. And you got Chocolate Lover 19980? Come on, man. Come on, bro. Is this a video? There he is, there's the guy. Why do you call the Wavebird's receiver a dongle? Because it's a dongle, that's what it is. What are you thinking of Nikolai does stuff? What are you thinking about that, huh? It's the same guy who pronounced Delfino Plaza, Delfino Plaza. I'm convinced he still does the baby. Nah, he knows the dark art, okay? Nathaniel algorithm's been around for long enough. He knows. He knows, okay? He knows. It's been a while. Oh, yeah, this was actually a really good video, honestly. This was actually really well done. I have to give you massive props, Bandy. Hang on, now we're going to do our favorite part, chat. We're going to sort by name. Finally, someone did... What do you mean, finally? He did one 6 or 7 years ago. Absolute boost in it. Yeah, can we downvote this guy? Can we downvote this guy? You forgot the Wii U microphone. Nice video, though. Obviously, we know the iconic Wii U microphone. Where did you find that squid? I want that too. Rank every single handheld? He did. I need to do that as well, actually. Why the Game Boy Micro is the best console ever made. Good to see my childhood YouTuber still doing well. Listen, man, he ain't on that weird shit. He ain't on that weird... No... Bandy, what has happened to the comment section I love? Bandy, what has happened? Bandy, what has happened? He's got none. Bro, Bandy. Do you know what confused me about like some of these comments there, right? Obviously, like, you know, gaming videos, Nintendo videos tend to skew younger audience, right? But I'm just like, Bandy's like an old legacy YouTuber, does that make sense? So you'd think like his audience would like age up a bit, you know? But like it just seems like they're still toddlers. Still toddlers using mum's iPad to leave comments, you know? Crazy. Crazy stuff. Either way, hey, this is actually a very fun video to watch. Very, very, very fun. And I got no notes, honestly. I got no notes of a critique, really. It's just really good. It just proves that new Bandy can also cook. Round of applause to new Bandy. Both new and old Bandy still got it. You had it back then, and you still got it now. So, good stuff, Bandy. I'll leave it there.